And our first emailed question comes to us from the Nerd Zone. And Nerd Zone says, subject of his email is dedication. I just watched What If Episode 2, and I would like to say on your channel, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Your role as T'Challa was amazing, and you will be known as an amazing actor for the future generation. It is sad to see a man die so young last year, but his legacy will last forever. And yeah, I mean, I would also very much like to hearken what Nerd Zone says. And again, if you're not entirely familiar with the context, Marvel's Disney Plus, or rather Disney Plus has a new series on Marvel has a new series on Disney Plus, is what I'm trying to say, called What If. In episode 2, we had episode 1 last week with what if Peggy Carter became Captain America, or I guess as they call her, Captain Carter. But now in this second episode, what happens if Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy abducted T'Challa instead of Star-Lord, instead of shoot, why can't I think of his name? Peter Quill. And then took him to outer space, and now T'Challa becomes one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's the subject of this particular What If. But we're not going to, break down the episode and everything, but it does kind of stir some emotions because Chadwick Boseman voiced his character, T'Challa, in this episode. And I believe there's a grand total of 4 episodes where Chadwick Boseman comes back to vocally reprise his role as T'Challa. So, as beautiful of a performance as Chadwick Boseman gave in the live-action movies, he also gave a beautiful vocal performance to bring to life that character once again. Yeah, I mean, Chadwick Boseman was an incredible actor with incredible abilities. And again, I don't want to keep harping on this, but to me, this continues to reinforce the idea that the decision of not recasting the role of T'Challa in the live-action films is an absolute travesty. Now, Moses, I know you are a huge Black Panther fan, like many of us are. You had an opportunity to watch this episode this morning. What were your overall? Because I don't want to go into like a discussion about the episode itself, but what was it about the vocal performance that Chadwick Boseman brought to the small screen that brings to life this character?
Well, first of all, it was just nice to hear his voice again. It was nice to hear him put his spin on in a different direction within the same universe as the same character, if that makes sense. Personally, it was nice because outside of Spider-Man and Black Panther, I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. I love Star-Lord. So just to be able to see T'Challa inhabit the role of what Star-Lord would, T'Challa in the Guardians of the Galaxy, was very exciting for me personally. Now what it means, I do have something for the recasting comment that you said that
Sure.
we can get into if you want to. But just as you know, it was nice hearing him. It was nice seeing him kind of like in a somewhat different role as a king. But I just really loved this episode. And if we're getting 3 more, then sign me up. I'm going to watch it expeditiously. Also, I want that outfit. I want that T'Challa jacket.
It's going to happen. You know, somebody somewhere on Etsy is going to see this episode and then recreate it and then just mass produce it somewhere. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about the recasting of T'Challa's Black Panther, because when this was first announced, that Kevin Feige said they will not be recasting the role of T'Challa, some people were like, yes, you are not allowed to recast the role of T'Challa. That belongs to Chadwick Boseman. But then there's people on my side of the argument saying you can't not recast the role of T'Challa. It's, you recast James Bond. Sean Connery did not own the role of James Bond. Christopher Reeve did not own the role of Superman. Michael Keaton did not own the role of Batman, so on and so on and so on. And it's, my opinion and the opinion of a lot of people as well on the internet, that by not recasting, that does an injustice to the memory of, into the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. Again, let me go back to the James Bond movies for a second. Dr. No, the very first James Bond, big action movie, because there was a small screen version, in 1962. If that's all there was, if Sean Connery did 5 movies and then that was it, and they never continued on with the series, how many of us now, today, would rewind time and go back and rewatch those old 1960s James Bond movies? I don't think a lot of us would. Probably a few. But I don't think a lot of us would go back and rewatch those movies. And the same thing with this. Now, granted, the Avengers MCU universe is a little bit different in that regard, and that it's more of a cultural experience, and these movies are now spanning decades. And all the characters come in and out and blah, 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 whatever. But what's your opinion here? Like, do you think that they should recast or not? And how so?
I think Loki was the best thing to happen to the MCU going forward, and the fact that it now shifts the dynamic, and you have a lot more flexibility to do things. Like, for example, just that last bit, it's now, the multiverse is now open. You could technically make an argument that every single movie based on a Marvel property is canon in the fact that it's a different universe. So why not take that idea and here's how I would do it. You can use the Black Panther sequel to honor this universe's T'Challa in the fact that you get to honor Chadwick Boseman. Then at the end, you probably have a different T'Challa from a different universe, kind of like a post-apocalyptic type of thing where Wakanda's been destroyed, and that's due to the Atlanteans, and then you have him be their T'Challa and warn them of the threat that is Namor the Submariner, and which leads into the next Black Panther movie, because, as you know, and which was hinted at in Endgame, that there was an underwater earthquake in on the coast, on the Wakandan coast, and Okoye was like, Nat, you don't understand. There was an earthquake underneath Wakanda, which insinuates that there may be a treaty where the Wakandans don't go underwater because they don't infringe on Namor's kingdom type of thing. So in that fact, you have your cake and eat it too, in the fact that you honor T'Challa, you honor Chadwick Boseman's version of T'Challa while opening the door for a different T'Challa to live in this universe.
So I've had a very, very similar musings in that regard, where they could seamlessly, through storytelling, bring a new T'Challa into the MCU verse, because as you say, everything is now kind of by extension canon, because we have the multiverse. But yeah, you could bring a new actor in, and I keep saying Aldous Hodge. Aldous Hodge is my number one choice to play T'Challa. I don't think they're going to do it because he's just been cast as Hawkman in the Black Adam movie. But I mean, who knows? I mean, James Gunn going back and forth between Marvel and DC now. I mean, who knows what doors are going to open as a result of that? But I'm still holding hope for Aldous Hodge to come out and play T'Challa. Whoever ends up playing T'Challa, if indeed they do recast, that is the way that I've always thought that they could do it. It makes the most sense, right? Yeah. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What were your knee-jerk reactions to the What If episode where Chadwick Boseman came back to vocally reprise his role as T'Challa back in the MCU? However you want to catify. What is up with my speech today? You know what I'm trying to say. What are your thoughts? Jump on down to the comment section below. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what this Mickey Mouse Walt Disney World snow globe would want you to do. When you wish upon a star.